Every June, the Department of Huila in Colombia erupts into one of the largest celebrations in South America. 500,000 people flood the streets for weeks of music, dancing, and elaborate parades. For decades, the official branding has relied on three specific terms to market the event: the festival, the folklore, and the reinado, a massive national beauty pageant. It is a highly polished, successful tourism product. This makes a 2022 filing from the region's top historians particularly strange. They formally demanded the government erase those marketing words from the event's title. They claim festival and reinado anchor the celebration to a recent invention, ignoring centuries of lived history. The guardians of local history are actively attacking the branding that makes their home internationally famous. This friction exists because of how people lived here for generations. The root of this celebration was a private, rural ritual tied to the rhythms of cattle haciendas and small communal harvest gatherings. Historically, outsiders visited Huila for its quiet archaeological heritage, to see the ancient stone statues of San Agustin, not for urban street parties. This massive street festival is a modern construction, engineered long after the age of the stone statues. To find the architects of that construction, we have to go back to the mid-1950s. At the time, Huila was paralyzed by a period of intense political violence. The region was isolated. Without paved roads connecting it to the country's major economic hubs, local growth and industrialization had stalled. Because of the stagnant economy and the constant threat of violence, rural workers abandoned their homes in droves. They fled toward the Amazon or major cities, looking for physical safety and factory jobs. For the leaders left behind, sheer economic survival took precedence over cultural preservation. The Círculo de Periodistas, a local journalists' union, proposed a radical PR strategy to attract national attention. They hoped that by putting Huila in the spotlight, they could force the federal government to send infrastructure funds. They decided to extract private rural traditions from the surrounding haciendas, like roasting pigs and playing folk music, and deliberately repackage them into a loud, highly visible urban carnival. They added the Reinado Nacional del Bambuco, a beauty pageant, as a commercial lure. It was a calculated addition, designed to pull in tourists and media from Bogotá. The influx of visitors and media attention successfully pressured the government to finally pave the regional highways and build new tourist hotels. By weaponizing local custom, the journalists constructed a permanent economic engine that secured their city's future. This mid-century experiment laid the groundwork for how local governments operate today. Culture is still treated as a primary tool for state management. This flowchart, derived from the 2024 Municipal Plan for Tello, shows how politicians quantify culture. The government tracks sports events, cultural schools, and infrastructure improvements using strict metrics. They measure exact youth headcount in art programs to track growth and maintain social peace. Regional planners treat tradition as a calculated, measurable metric, a high-stakes tool for civic productivity. The journalists' 1956 plan succeeded. It brought in the roads, the hotels, and the capital required to put Huila on the map. As the event became a commercial product, the original meaning behind the rural traditions was diluted. Local citizens, once active participants in an intimate ritual, were moved behind metal barricades. They became spectators watching their own heritage performed as a show. When a culture is optimized for a tourist audience, the economy of the spectacle eventually consumes the original tradition. The 2022 Academia Huilense de Historia report attempts to reverse that consumption, demanding a return to true symbolism. To secure national heritage status, they argue the state must strip the festival and reinado branding, returning to the original names, San Juan and San Pedro. It is a difficult paradox. Engineering culture as an economic tool saved a dying region, but preserving the soul of that culture requires a conscious rebellion against its own commercial success.